first news that I want to get to today was one that was very entertaining to track over the past couple of days. It's total batshit beginning of the NFL offseason type of news. Matthew Stafford, there's speculation that he could be leaving the Rams via trade this offseason. Now, I don't know what would incline the Rams to do this. He's 37 years old. He played great in the playoffs, minus like them finishing like a little bit slow and not being able to perform well in the snow. I don't know why they try to move on from him. But since the Giants hired this is per Adam Schefter, Jaguars and Bills wide receivers coach Chad Hall as their assistant QB coach, everybody has been pushing this narrative that the New York Giants are going to trade for Matthew Stafford. Hall is Matthew Stafford's brother-in-law. That is the significance of this. As a overly optimistic Giants fan, I don't understand why we're putting ourselves through this pain. I don't understand why we're putting ourselves through something, believing into something that is not actually going to happen. Colin Cowherd said on his show, though, and I'm always a little bit skeptical to trust his sourcing. He said on the show, the Giants do not like the quarterback class. Brian Daboll, the head coach, and Joe Shane, the GM, have got to win or they'll be fired by Thanksgiving. They're going to get run out of the building because if they don't have a quarterback, Washington is now big-time. Philadelphia will steamroll them. The Packers, the Bears, the Rams, NFC is getting better. The Giants have some good players, so they're going to make a move, I believe, on Matt Stafford. You think there's any shot this is real?
Well, Matt Stafford's wife went on a podcast or did a podcast and talked about how she loves what we've done with LA and everything they've done for him, but we love an adventure. And that means I don't mind moving. I don't mind packing up the house
I didn't know about this.
And moving the kids around. So I don't know if it's a money thing. I don't know if it's like a security thing. These quarterbacks, when they get over 35, they need to sit their families down and say, hey, it's not like it used to be. Price of the brick going down for me. It's not going up. So everyone just calm down. I'm going to start moving around as a journeyman like Flacco. I'm sure had to have that conversation. He needed to, and look at him. He's been a hero. But the family hysterics and drama surrounding this irritate me. The fact that you're pitching me that he might go to the Giants and get his legs snapped at MetLife.
Whoa!
That's really rough. I love Matt Stafford. I love everything he's done for the game. He's been a consistent quarterback, big arm, ballsy in Detroit, gave everything to that city when they were an awful team. LA Super Bowl, great. Consistency, made the most out of Cooper Kupp, helped develop Puka Nacua. So great. Love Matthew Stafford. Stay away from New York. Just retire before you go play for the Giants.
Okay.
That's what I would, my advice to him would be.
The main part that I brought up at the beginning, I think, is what leads this conversation and ends it immediately. There's no likelihood that the Rams are going to try and get rid of him.
No.
Why would they? He is the center of their success. He's why this team was able to win a Super Bowl. His performance hasn't dropped off. They were competitive and they were hot at the end of the season because of him. Why is there this sudden belief just because they're trading Cooper Kupp that they're on this teardown? The other thing that was brought up, and I think Cowherd brought this up, the Rams going and getting Aaron Rodgers. Why would I move Matthew Stafford to bring in Aaron Rodgers, a guy who was a mess this year and was decrepit and physically unable to perform at the level that we were used to seeing? He looked like an old-ass man. Why would that be the solution? It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. Rodgers, 4 years older. The Rams are so weird because remember that year they won 9 games with Goff and they were trying to melt the whole thing down, and they still won 9 games. They missed the playoffs. They had gone to the Super Bowl the year before, I believe, and they just kept on going to the playoffs afterwards. They have this weird hair trigger to push the blow it all up button. I don't understand it. They're a good team. They constantly draft well. They have one of the best coaches in the sport, and they have the model of consistency at quarterback. He doesn't have the same arm he had when he was 27. I wouldn't expect him to. If you're really concerned about shoulder injury, then just say that. Just say, hey, yeah, the health isn't there anymore. I think that he had some residual injury from the year before this year. It was reported that Staffy had a bit of a bum arm, but he played the whole season. I thought he was going to get knocked out by week 4. He was like the one guy on the Rams that stayed healthy.
Right.
So with that, I'm keeping my money on the table. I'm letting it ride. And I think the smart play just find the quarterback that you like the most that won't be in the first round, stick them behind. Maybe you can get them to develop and grow behind Stafford and have like at least a contingency plan.
Well, yeah, I guess you could, maybe not in the first round, but like if you like the options of some of these higher ceiling dudes that you could take a shot on day 3 or day 2, you could take Quinn Ewers, who, like, let's be real, physically, you could get out of Quinn Ewers what you get out of Matthew Stafford right now. The mental capacity and the processing is not the same. The decision-making is not the same, but you never know. You could get a little bit of rub off. If you took him in the 3rd round, I think that there's very low risk for making a move like that. But yeah, you're right. Stafford being who you're going to trust until you run him into the ground. It's like having a reliable car.
Yeah.
The car got you to insane heights. It took you everywhere you needed to take you, maybe in a short period of time when you bought it. You've only had it for, 4 or 5 years. But when the thing's not there yet, but you know it's coming, that it's going to stop working, that one day you're going to have to take it to the junkyard, drive it until it gets to the junkyard. Don't waste the money on the brand new Mercedes now. Try and run the one that you have into the ground.
I love that. You know why? I'm living it. That's what I got. I know my car's 22 plus years old. It's still running. I could get a little money out of it right now. It's not worth it because it's still running. It's
I would
still
pray
working.
for anyone who buys that car.
No, that car is good. It's got 4 new struts in it. It's still under 200,000 miles. Got a new AC compressor. We've done some work with this car to keep it active. I think that keeping Stafford active is a fine play. And you're still being a little hard on Quinn, lest we forget Matt Stafford was a big Georgia dummy when he was coming out of college.
But he was good.
He was good.
He was really good at Georgia. And then early on in his career, he was pretty good with a really shit team around him. So there was not a lot for him to do there. So his performance wasn't related to him. It was related to his surroundings. So they're not that similar. But both big armed. That's about it.
Put Quinn in L.A., draft McMillan out of Arizona. We've got Stafford to Megatron 2.0. This is how we're building.
Ted McMillan is not Megatron.
Is he the biggest receiver of this class?
Is that it? Is that all that? Is that every Megatron for you? Calvin Johnson's just, hey, who's the biggest guy? Box checked. Calvin Johnson.
Okay, is there a Megatron in this class?
No.
Yeah, of course
there hasn't been one in the last 20 years.
I agree.
That's an insane shot to throw out there.
You got to try to make some type of comp. This is a double force
hopes
comp.
Up. All right, the last part about this where you were super mean and negative about him going to the Giants. If there was, say they were sick of him and he's just Stafford's a locker room cancer and they don't need him anymore. They're just, we got to get rid of him. We got to get rid of him. It's like Luka. They just really hate him. They need to trade him. I think he's fat and lazy. Yeah, the Giants would be the perfect spot for him to go to. The Giants are really desperate. You could fleece them for a lot of draft capital to make this move happen because they very, very, very badly, like Cowherd illustrated in this quote, need a solution immediately. And them giving up a shitload of capital for a very short-term return is something that the Giants would 1,000% do. I, as a Giants fan, I think I'd be pretty happy with it because you trade this away and then maybe you spend a little bit of money on a guy like Trey Smith in free agency. Mm-hmm. Boom, you put some Band-Aids on your offense and it can actually run a little bit.
I think Trey Smith is more than a Band-Aid. I'll give you that if you make a play for him. Why don't you just make a push for Darnold?
Ryan's being mean.
He's being real mean. Look, mid-afternoon on Thursday, we're trying to get
the second time we've been live.
We're trying to get the cycle going here, RR. But I think you guys might as well make a push for Darnold if you're going to make a push for Stafford, because I don't want to see what you're going to do to Stafford. Because for some reason, you keep on drafting these offensive linemen. I like them when they're coming out of college. You don't develop them. You don't do anything with them. Their feet don't
Andrew
improve.
Thomas improved significantly. His first year, he was awful. He got better. A lot better. Evan Neal's a different story, and it's, I think, a mental thing. It
concerns me. I'd rather see you...
He's been hurt. That's the only issue.
I'd rather see you burn a different quarterback that doesn't have an emotional attachment to being a legend of the game. Give me a Jimmy G.
Stafford's a legend of the game. I don't know if I call him a legend of the game. He's not even in the top 10 quarterbacks of all time. Maybe not even top 20.
I put him fringe.
He's a quarterback of all time.
Yeah, he is. He won a Super Bowl. Only 59 of those out there.
And it's an accomplishment, but is Joe Flacco one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time?
Look, I'm saving the Flacco stuff for when Matt Ryan's first eligible for the Hall of Fame because I'm ready to trash Matt Ryan and compare him to Flacco. But yeah, Stafford's better than Flacco. We would agree on that. And I think that Stafford would probably be top 50 all time, maybe in that 40 to 50 range.
That's overly generous. That's like, oh, hey, here's a really wide... Here's a very wide, low bar that he just needs to cross. That's it. Oh, top 50? Yeah, I'd maybe go...
There's been a lot of quarterbacks that we start fleshing out a list of the
top 30. Let's try to be a little bit more specific. Because he has had statistically a lot of fantastic seasons. He hasn't won an MVP. He actually has a very low number of Pro Bowls, which is very odd.
I don't mind top 30 because that means that he's the best Detroit Lions quarterback of all time, which I believe
he's one of the best Rams quarterbacks of all time.
I would agree.
I put him second behind Kurt Warner. Who am I missing there?
Yeah, Kurt's ahead of him. He's definitely ahead of Goff. I don't know if there's another Rams quarterback that I'm
No, they haven't exactly had success at quarterback.
But you got to remember, if we're doing 30, then we might as well do 32. There's more than one San Francisco quarterback better than him. There's more than one Dallas quarterback all time better than him.
This would be one of the worst segments if we just tried to name 30 quarterbacks.
Oh,
I think that'd be really entertaining.
I think our 30s would be starkly different. That would not be fun.